In our headlines this morning, in final push for Saturday's State Assembly elections, Governor Obiano meets with APGA ward leaders in Awka. NUJ National President Isi Guzo commends Anambra State government on labor-friendly disposition. Nigeria Immigration Service postpones issuance of new e-passport. Wife of French jihadist claims say husband was killed in last month's coalition strike. Good morning and welcome to the news. My name is Nonye Mokoye. As part of measures to ensure a resounding victory for APGA ahead of Saturday's State Assembly election, Governor Willie Obiano has met with the 21 ward executive members of the 326 wards in the state. A Government House correspondent Ejike Abana reports that during the family meeting which held at Dr. Alex Ekweme Square, Awka, Governor reminded the people that victory for APGA is surety for consolidation of his successes. His report.
According to the governor, this is the most important election to him, saying that he will ensure adequate security, calling on party faithful to carry themselves as ambassadors of the party, as such work for the success of the party. The governor, who stressed that he has 3 years left before his tenure expires, pointed out that the dividends of democracy will continue only when APGA controls majority of the seats as the House of Assembly, calling for unity of heart and purpose from members. On his part, the national chairman of APGA, Chief Victor Oye, urged party faithful to come out with unity of heart while expressing optimism for a resounding victory. Earlier, while speaking for massive support and votes for the party, the state chairman of APGA, Anambra Obi, hinted that during the last election, some members of the party worked against the party, saying that the meeting was convened to streamline things ahead of the Saturday's election, and warned that APGA members who are interested in other parties are wasting their time, as they already have their own structures which may not accommodate them.
That one way in Africa, a loyal African member, which is in a party also, that is in a waste. But already, that is in a move their own structure.
Speaking to the ABS, a board of trustee member of APGA, Chief Romi Ezonwoka, asked Ndibo to start playing politics the way it should be, instead of putting all their eggs in one basket, saying that the governor needs a win for the 30 members of the State Assembly to enable the governor deliver on his mandate. Representatives from the 21 local government areas took turns to speak, drumming support for the party. Deputy Governor Dr. Nkemo Keke, Secretary to the State Government, Professor Soluchukwu Lobelo, National Working Committee, and BOT members of the party, members of the State Executive, including the Special Advisor to the Governor on Political Matters, Chief Ifatu Obiokoye, among others, attended the meeting.
Governor Willie Obiano says Anambra State government will be the first to pay the new national minimum wage. Governor Obiano gave the hint at the Jerome Udoji Secretariat, Awka, during a parley with state civil servants. Government House correspondent Ejike Abana fired the report taken from here.
Friday,
civil servants from ministries, departments and agencies thronged the Jerome Udoji Secretariat, Awka, to welcome the governor, who canvassed for their support, while reiterating that the welfare of the state workforce has been paramount to his administration. The governor stressed that the coming election will determine whether the salaries, gratuities and pensions of civil servants will continue to come, as well as other largesse, pending whether only APGA candidates emerge victorious at the State Assembly election or not, while declaring Friday work-free day for workers to enable them prepare for Saturday's election. He said that the minimum wage is over 1 billion naira, saying that state government has received reports by the Labour Committee but will commence its implementation to address workers' grievances and agitations.
30 over 30. Why they do anything other than that? It was 21 over. Don't even make a name, no. And in the bone. ma madini eto na ara ko atosia no lu agwanyo akusanyo no ndi kedi o moke esolu we general collection center nodo ewe collate ya obria ndi jifo the next year until they finish the collection what result in nakabazi mani ni mezugive obria. So even now young people on Saturday Botano the Igwe go still in a governor no one met you no former Ometaka announce implementation of minimum wage. Okay, all those grievances listed by Nigerian Labour Union and the other bodies not here. We'll be able to address them. I saw here no can announce there. I get first. Can you minimum wage you put that? If I can cost Anambra, let's assume now 27,000 Kavakwata, it's over 1.4 billion additional. What do you feel? But I got where?
The head of service, Barrister Harry Edu, assured that the state workforce is ready to follow the governor because of his numerous welfare packages to Anambra state workers, highlighting some of them to include payment of salaries, pensions, gratuities, Christmas largesse, ongoing renovation of the secretariat, among others.
Gratitude for one of the virtues of God. Nyana onye amechara anyị meni na ka na-emekwa ma ndị ọ na-atụzi aka ọ ga-eme ọ ga-agwa okwu anyị okwu anyị kacha enye eche ọ bụ ebe ọsọ anyị sie ka anyị ga-esie ụlọ nwa na-ebe ọsọ anyị sie ka anyị ga-esie kpọọ na ya akarị.
The state chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Jerry Nnubia, said that because the governor has agreed and pronounced that he will be the first to pay the new national minimum wage, civil servants in the state should rally support for APGA candidates to ensure consolidation of his good works.
I am my life. Can you just maybe this minimum wage of course nobody was going I got to go to so that obviously now on the question I am quite on Messi also I must go now opposite the so Edimo now and Jolo neck na governor. When I on Jolo Nine Pico Siani on Saturday 9th of March 2019 Kabutani Iwe. But that all the buying you couldn't buy for that. Kaito Botra na Apuga House members. Kai when we can you were telling Lenine, the governor today.
The principal secretary to the Anambra State Governor, Sir Willie Nwokoye, has appealed to Anambra to vote for all the APGA candidates in Saturday's House of Assembly election in the state for continuous development of the state. Sir Nwokoye made the appeal during the ABS television morning program, Good Morning Anambra. Correspondent Chibuzo Okoye completes the story.
Nwokoye, who spoke on the topic sustaining good governance in Anambra State, said that there is a compelling need for Anambra to vote for APGA candidates in the parliamentary election to help the executive in the state to fulfill its lofty objectives and goals. The principal secretary, who explained that aggrieved APGA members have been reconciled for the unity and development of the party, hinted that Anambra, whom he described as an emotional set of people when it comes to voting, will not voting legislators that will hold the executive ransom by extorting money and as such crippling the good governance in the state.
The people in the House of Assembly is because, theoretically, whatever the governor and his men, including us, will do, must get the imprimatur of the House. The House must give it the power to do it. Okay. The House must pass the law to do it. Mm-hmm. People think that governors get up and do what they want to do. It's not correct. So, the House of Assembly is important.
Samuel Okoye, who expressed joy that has more members going to the National Assembly in this political dispensation than before, opined that he hopes that the second term administration of President Muhammadu Buhari will be better than the first term.
It's been reconciled, it's been done, and I want to assure you that it's not going to affect this Saturday's election. Don't take Anambra voters for granted. They follow their mind, they follow their conscience, they follow the picture that they have developed in their mind. I know that Obiano enjoys very, very, very good appeal with the people that he's leading. And they know that this Saturday is not Obiano's election, but that Obiano is an indirect beneficiary of the outcome of this election, his government. And you know that you will see how people are going to express.
Samuel Okoye revealed that the present administration is institutionalizing policies in the state and has futuristic plans for infrastructural development, and added that the governor has equally instituted a strategic financial system that will stand the test of time if adequately managed by those that will succeed him.
The principal secretary to the Anambra State Governor there, Sir Willie Okoye, and good morning, Anambra show. Moving on, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Barrister Rita Madago, has called on Anambra to see Saturday's House of Assembly election as a payback to Governor Willie Obiano for his numerous achievements in all the communities in the state. Addressing ABGA candidates, stakeholders in Akuihedi, Ezinifite, Ebenator, and Ukpo, Barrister Madago appealed to them to vote massively for her on Saturday's election to enable her to continue with her effective representation. The Speaker, who is the ABGA House of Assembly candidate for Newe South 2 constituency, noted that she has achieved a lot in all the communities in her constituency, such as building of classroom blocks, water boreholes, hospitals, markets, as well as giving employment to many members of the Newe South 2 constituency, among others. She assured her constituents that if elected, she would increase her efforts in attracting more road projects and other democracy dividends from the state government. Barrister Madago reminded Anambra of the need to ensure that ABGA House of Assembly candidates emerge victorious in Saturday's election as a solid backing to the Obiano administration, which she said has offered good governance to the citizenry in all ramifications. Journalists have been charged to maintain objectivity, balance, and neutrality in their reportage during the forthcoming State Assembly election. The National President, Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Comrade Chris Isiguzo, gave the charge during a courtesy visit to the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Anambra Broadcasting Service, Chief Uche Mora. Our reporter, Njideka Okoye, covered the visit and our reports.
So going to have any problem, especially among our people, the media.
Comrade Isiguzo advised media practitioners not to dance to the tune of desperate politicians for selfish interests. The NUJ president attributed minimal cases of harassment of journalists during the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections in the country to efforts and commitments of NUJ to credible elections, which include a 3-day workshop with the Nigerian police for effective security. Comrade Isiguzo commended the Anambra state government for its commitment to developing its state media, noting that Anambra is one of the few states that have functional and well-equipped state newspaper outfits, that ABS is second to none and one of the best broadcasting stations, and also praised the Managing Director, Chief Mora, and the staff of the establishment for their renewed efforts in meeting up with international standards.
Our colleagues, our journalists, must maintain objectivity. They must be objective at all times. They must be neutral. They must maintain balance, in all they do. And once we are able to do this, I can tell you that we are not going to have any problem.
Responding, Chief Mora thanked the NUJ National President for the visit, saying that looking at his caliber and performance, there is hope for the nation. Noting that ABS has gone this far due to Governor Willie Obiano's labor-friendly disposition, which made him to pay off the backlog of pensions and gratuity of retired staff of ABS. Chief Mora stated that the present administration and the state built a brand new digital television for Anambra, of which no state-owned television could match, including great strides in digital reporting, and said the station would soon be on cable TV, assuring them that ABS will continue to be a strong partner of the NUJ.
It's important that I talk about the equipment, what we have now, because if you're a journalist and you don't have the right equipment, you don't have the right environment to function, you're not going to be a proud journalist. And still do better, because we're very ambitious. We're in Anambra, we don't accept little. As we speak, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Mr. Sidon Adonaba, just came back from Lagos, where he had meetings with the management of DSTV, because it has been the desire of His Excellency that ABS should be on the cable TV, and that's already we're working on. Presently, we're on Star Times, we're on Metro Digital. We stream live on the internet, and then we have a YouTube channel. I don't think there's any other state-owned TV, even some of the private owned, that do the kind of work that the ABS does online. So in that regard, I think you should be proud of the journalists that you have working at ABS. They're very, very committed.
In company to the visit were the Anambra State Chairman of NUJ, Comrade Emaife Nachi, and the Secretary, Comrade Emma Udaga, the Director, News and Current Affairs Department, ABS, Mr. Gabe Opaleze, and Head of Commentary Unit, Dr. Emeka Arinze, among others. In Awka, Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
The Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, has postponed the issuance of the new 10-year enhanced e-passport till April 29 to enable it to finalize the integration of the national identity number with the new passport. Mr. Muhammad Babandede, Comptroller General NIS, disclosed this in a statement signed by Mr. Sander James, the Service Public Relations Officer, PRO. The NIS had on January 21 announced that it will begin issuance of the document on March 4. According to the statement, consequent upon this, the price of the current passport still remains the same. The cost of the 32-page 5-year standard passport stood at 25,000 naira. 64-page 5-year standard passport is 35,000 naira, while the 64-page 10-year standard passport costs 70,000 naira. The new passport has enormous advantages, which include 10-year validity, self-tracking application, and express centers for urgent application. On business news, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation says it has recovered assets worth over 771 million naira from some marketers who underpaid for petroleum products supplied to them. The corporation discloses in a statement issued by its spokesman, Mr. Ndo Ogamado, in Abuja, and said that the marketers got the products from Kaduna Depot of Petroleum Products Marketing Company. Chairman of the NNPC Anti-Corruption Committee, Mr. Mike Balami, said that the recovery was made by the committee in collaboration with the federal government intelligence and anti-corruption agencies. He named the agencies like the Department of State Services, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission. Balami said that the committee brought in forensic experts to uncover the shady deals by some of the marketers affected. He disclosed that some of the assets recovered included filling stations, water factories, and 6 sports utility vehicles. On entertainment news, the Swedish Academy will be allowed to give out 2018 and the 2019 Nobel Prizes for Literature this year, the Nobel Foundation has said in a press release. Last year, the Nobel Foundation stopped the Swedish Academy from handing out the award after a string of sexual misconduct allegations against the husband of one of its board members threw the institution into crisis mode. Jean-Claude Arnault, a French photographer married to poet Katarina Frostensin, who ran a cultural foundation that received academy funds, was jailed last year after a rape conviction. He was also accused of leaking names of literature prize winners. Frostenson left the academy in January after she was found guilty of leaking the names of prize winners. Arnold appealed his rape conviction to Sweden's Supreme Court and denied leaking names. The scandal first emerged in 2017, and since then, several members resigned in protest. The body's former permanent secretary, Sarah Daniels, resigned because of the scandal. And on our foreign news, the wife of French jihadist Jean-Michel Klein has revealed that her husband was killed last month after a coalition strike killed his brother Fabien, another notorious jihadist. Fabien Klein, 41, gained notoriety after voicing an audio recording claiming responsibility for the November 2015 attacks in Paris, when IS jihadists slaughtered 129 people in coordinated attacks at restaurants and bars around the French capital. He was killed in a coalition drone strike last month in Bahus, the village in eastern Syria, where die-hard IS jihadists are making a bloody last stand. His younger brother, Jean-Michel, 38, was wounded in the same February 20 coalition on Bahus, but survived, Macron said, but he died in a mortar attack 2 days later. She was speaking at a screening center run by the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Kurdish-led forces that has spearheaded the military operation against the last drag of the IS Caliphate. She was among a group of several hundred civilians who exited the tiny besieged enclave where a dwindling number of jihadist fighters were refusing to surrender. And now on sports news, West Ham midfielder Declan Rice is free to play for England after world governing body FIFA confirmed his switch from Ireland. The highly rated 20-year-old, who was born in London but qualified for Ireland through his paternal grandparents, considers himself to be of mixed nationality and played 3 times for Ireland. But because they were friendlies, it left the door open for him to change allegiance, and last month he announced his intention to do so, a move that has now been ratified by FIFA. After representing Ireland at youth level, Rice went on to make 3 senior appearances last year, including games against France and the United States ahead of the World Cup. However, speculation over his long-term international future mounted after he became a West Ham regular under Manuel Pellegrini this season. In completing the switch, Rice follows in the footsteps of Aston Villa midfielder Jack Grealish, who made the same move to England in 2016. And now remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website www.absradiotv.com. Like us at www.facebook.com/ABSRadioTelevision. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And the main points of the news again. In final push for Saturday's State Assembly election, Governor Obiano has met with ABGA ward leaders in Awka. NUJ President Isiguzo has commended Anambra State government on labor-friendly disposition. Nigeria Immigration Service has moved the issuance of new e-passport. And from the foreign scene, we brought you a report that the wife of French jihadist Klein has said husband was killed in last month's coalition strike. And that's just about it on the news this morning. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nonye Mokoye. Good morning.